because in the European Parliament I must speak loudly to be heard, of course. Of course, Professor Hoppe was kind enough to invite me here, and perhaps you expect that I'll take some jokes about the carrots, bananas, and other things were very popular in this Insane Asylum, as it is in the title of my speech. But well, I've got yesterday from European Union a really extraordinary letter, but I don't have time to read it now. Perhaps during the discussion I read it if somebody doesn't ask me. But I'll begin with the known words. I'm sure everybody knows them. This is madness, yet there is method in it. And I'll try very seriously about European Union, because there is method in it. European Union is consisted from the three different levels, three different layers. On the bottom of all it, there are men and women, of course, who are earning very, very big money for doing nothing, in fact. They are pretending they are doing something very important. They have amendments to amendments, there are resolutions whose nobody is reading them. And they are not only members of parliament, they are commissaires who earn much greater amount of money. And this is very, very, very important that these men are being bribed off. They are announcing to everybody that the European Union is very, very important and serious matter. And of course, they are hired. They are highly paid for this. The second layer, there are people who really earn real money from doing something. For example, they are fighting with global warming, producing such a windmills or something different ways. They are accepting bribes for the windmills and so on. You know, every socialist institutions cannot live without fighting with somebody. Communist system, Soviet Union system lived from fighting with American imperialism. They are living for fighting the global warming. They must fight with something. But, well, it is very important because these men are earning big money. European Union spent $2.5 billion in conservative sense, money to fighting global warming. If the bribes are 5%, so you can understand how much money can they get from fighting the global warming. It's a real big money. Real big money. And of course, there are other activities also profitable, but not so profitable as fighting global warming. And on the top of this ladder, there is a group of men and women who are leading this institution. This institution was conceived 60 years ago as a free market institution. In the beginning, it was free market for steel and coal. Then it was being changed into the European Communauté Européenne, Economic Community European. But we are now in the 60s and 70s. In the 60s, there were a wave of terrorism in West Europe, much, much greater than the present Muslim terrorism. This terrorism was led by Rotte Arme Fraction, Brigate Rosse in Italy. They even had snatched Prime Minister Aldo Moro, murdered him. The wave of terror was really, really big, and there were even thinking that they will win, that the left will win. They will take the power. Unfortunately, they hadn't. They had been put in jail. And then Rudi Dutschke, remember this name, it was a guru of the German left, but not only German left. Rudi Dutschke, D-U-T-C-H-K-E, Dutschke, gave a command: stop these childish games. Stop throwing stones at the police. Inscribe for policemen. Stop fighting the capitalist European community, inscribed as a functionaries of the European community. Stop fighting the oppressive state, inscribed as the officials of the state. We are beginning the long march, as Mao Zedong said, long march through the institutions. And after 30 years, they have won. They have won. Now they are dominating, not quite, but dominating the European Union. They changed the European community, from the European community into the European Union. It was more centralized institution, which is absolutely not a free market institution. They plan now to turn European Union into a kind of Soviet Union of Soviet Socialist European Republic. It is planned by a group which is called a group of Altiero Spinelli. Every day I am entering the building of the European Union. I am passing through the inscription of the Altiero Spinelli building. Altiero Spinelli was a communist, and 2 months ago, Mrs. Angela Merkel, Mr. Renzi, and Hollande, Monsieur Hollande, it must be more than 2 months, 4 months perhaps. They go to the island of Ventotene to put the flowers and the monument of Altiero Spinelli. He was a communist, author of the plan how to transform Europe into a communist state. And those group, it's a complot of course, they are realizing the plan of Altiero Spinelli to build a communist Europe. Every day I was fighting with communists all my life, and now every day I must pass on the figure of Altiero Spinelli, which is proudly standing in the vestibule of the European Parliament, the communist. And there is nothing to be laughed at. On this local level, you can laugh, but we shall not laugh at the end of all this. This, in the previous cadence of the Parliament, Mr. Van Rompuy was a Belgian communist. By the way, Belgian Communist Party is to the left of the old communist parties. Even Mao Zedong is not proper communist for the Belgian communists. Mr. Barroso was a Maoist. The foreign minister is a Baroness, which is a member of British Communist Party, Baroness Ashton. From Czechoslovakia, it was Czech, but it was Fiule, fantastic speaker, absolvent of the Moscow University of Foreign Affairs, a member of Czech Communist Party, of Czech and Moravia, Bohemia and Moravian Communist Party. The majority of the commissaries were of the communist origin. Now in this deal, it is somewhat changed, but still they have, because they are organized as a group. It's called the Group of Altiero Spinelli. By the way, a very strange thing, in this group of Altiero Spinelli, in the European Parliament, from Poland, there are only 4 members, and all 4 are women. No man is in the group of Altiero Spinelli. So that women are not very important, in fact. But they are. We have a representative in the group of Altiero Spinelli, who is trying to lead the European Parliament, but it is not the most important group to lead it. There are men, and we are not listed on this group. They are doing what they are doing in the clandestine method, secret method. And what we should do, we should demonstrate to the world what is really done in the European Union, not the European Parliament, because, as I told you in the beginning, European Parliament is absolutely unimportant. The resolution of European Parliament are not regarded as an important documents, of course. The members of European Parliament think this is so, but in fact, it is absolutely unimportant. Absolutely unimportant, because European Union doesn't have an army. To lead a real foreign politics, you must have army. Just imagine the situation that all the states of United States, like Alabama, have armies, and the Federation, Union, don't have any army. In such a situation, the Union is a state. All the previous states, powers, are not independent now. The Union law has priority over the law of the member countries. So, of course, they are not sovereign. Sovereignty is in Union. The Treaty of Lisbon transferred. It was very important. They were, this group was plotters. Yeah? They were pretending that we already are in the European Union. But it was not true. The European Union emerged only after signing the Treaty of Lisbon. Because in the Treaty of Maastricht, the powers declared the will to create the European Union, but they didn't create it. It was created by signing the Lisbon Treaty. In this very moment, all the states, even Germany, has lost its sovereignty, and the law of European Union is prevailing when it is contrary to the law of the states. Those states don't accept it, in fact. Great portion of the politicians in Poland, in Germany, and the other countries, they don't accept the fact that they are not sovereign. It was the Polish party who is now ruling and is trying to be anti-unionist, but it is this party who signed the Treaty of Lisbon. They didn't know what they are signing. When we were treating the accession treaty 16 years ago or something like that, Mr. Donald Tusk, who was the Prime Minister of Poland, had acknowledged that he signed it without reading it. And I am absolutely sure that Mr. Kaczyński and the men from the now leading party in Poland also didn't read the Lisbon Treaty. It is incredible, but it's fact. The treaties are so long that nobody can read through them. And only afterwards they know what they have signed, in fact. Now, those groups want to create a union of European socialist republics. And now I will tell you something about the Brexit. Those groups tried to make this union, but United Kingdom was always against to have a more strong relations, and Poland and other countries supported United Kingdom, so they wanted the Brexit. Those groups consist of Luxembourg, Belgium, Germany, and France, Holland, and Spain, perhaps. But these three countries, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Germany, are most pro-unionist. And what they have done to get rid of United Kingdom? 2 weeks before the referendum, they announced it, which is absolutely false, that all the Turks will get free visas to the European Union. The result was that before the Poles were against Brexit, 2 days after this announcement, the Poles were other way around, and the Brexit won in Great Britain. And next day after the referendum, those 6 countries met in Berlin, and 2 weeks afterwards in Prague, I think, 2 weeks, I don't know, to plan how to make now a union of European socialist republics. How to exploit the situation, to jump to the opportunity and create it was stopped by the 4 countries from so-called Visegrad group. It is Poland, Hungary, Bohemia and Moravia, and Slovakia. Those 4 countries, with support some other countries, tacit support, blocked this initiative. So we now are in this situation. And I must tell now something very important. Those people who are leading European Union, not only European Union, they are using the language which is absolutely real, and they are telling, usually, we are fight for the European values. Well, now, the European values are quite contrary to the values of European Union. In Europe, the murderers should be hanged. In European Union, death penalty is forbidden. In Europe, it was a principle that who doesn't work doesn't eat. In European Union, who doesn't work gets money to have something to eat. In Europe, the children belonged to their parents. In European Union, the children belong to the state. In Europe, the boys should be aggressive to fight. In Union, the boys must be taught that they cannot be aggressive, especially boys. In Europe, women had privileges. In European Union, they have so-called equal rights. And so on and so on. They are just contrary to the European values. And when the European values dominated, we Europeans, we dominated of the world. We colonized all the world because our values were the best. How do I know that they are the best? Because we ruled all the world. If the values of the Algonquins, it is the Algonquins who could rule the world, discovered Europe, and so on and so on. And as the values of European Union are exactly opposite to the European values, and the Europeans were the best, the values of European Union must be the worst. And now we are colonized by the Negroes, Arabs, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah? Usually, I was told that the Europeans were selling percals to the Negroes, and now I've been on the beaches in Italy. There's the Negroes who come and sell percals to us. It is exactly opposite situation. And well, why it was done by those people who rule European Union? They are, in fact, very stupid. They are intellectuals, but they are very stupid because their principles are wrong. And they have forgotten why they don't want us to bear the arms. Why they don't want men to be aggressive? Because the system of European Union is a slavery system. And slaves should not be aggressive because they are afraid of the revolt of the slaves. What is the principal difference between slave and a free man? That the slave is not allowed to bear weapons. That's why European Union is now working how to take the rest of the weapons from the hands of the slaves. Of course, if a slave family has children, it is their patron who decides what the child is being taught because the child belongs to him. It is a slavery state. Even very great feature of this. A free man had to think about his future, how to collect money for his senility. Slave doesn't have to. His patron was obliged to feed him up to his last day. And now European Union, we have the pension system, the slavery system. We don't have to think about our future. Our patron is obliged to feed us to the end of our days. So we are building in Europe a slavery system. This is very important. Very important. The Europeans who discovered all the world, who conquered all the world, they're free men. Columbus was not obliged to go to the America. He wanted to go to America. Now we are obliged to do something. What is the effects of it? Of course, everybody knows, I cannot, I must not explain here, that slavery system is economically not effective, and the European Union economically is not effective. The France, so-called development of France is minus 2 points. France is the most socialist country from the European Union. The Poland is the best one, because thanks to the efforts of such a man like me, the Poles are usually profit marketer, but it is plus 3%. It is great achievement. Belarus, White Russia, has 3%. There is not an achievement. It is tragedy. It is tragedy. And it is the effect of the slavery system. Because slaves don't want to have children. Why should I have children? I even cannot clap my children because I can go to jail for that. It's not my children. It's not my child. Not my child. I am punished because I have harmed a state ownership. As something which owes to the state. By the state, sorry. So we don't want to have children. We don't must to have children because a free man had to have children. Plenty of children, because when he was old, the children would sustain him. Now, it's not necessary. I have a pension. My patron, my owner, must give me food and facility. So I don't have to change. When you ask why in Europe the children are not being born, it is because of the pension system. I don't have money for bearing children because I must pay my pension. And I don't need the children in my senility because I have pension. It is the pension system which is killing Europe. I have also only one fragment of the socialist system, of the slavery system, as I have already done. But of course, you know the classic word of Hayek, the road to serfdom. Now we are at the end of the road to serfdom. We achieved the state of serfdom, and they are trying to deepen it to make it more slavery. Fortunately enough, they are Muslims. As I told, the values of Europeans were the best, values of European Union are the worst. But the values of Muslims are in the middle of the way. If the Europe would be freed from the occupation of European Union, because it's occupation. A good Russian hated Soviet Union, a good German hated Third Reich, and good European must hate European Union, to turn the proud Europeans into this mass of slaves. I hate European Union, I'm a good European. Yeah. And if the occupation of European Union with occupation by Muslims, it will be very profitable for Europe. There will be no VAT tax, it's contrary to Quran. There will be no property tax, property will be the income tax, which is contrary to Quran. There will be no buy and sell tax, it's contrary to Quran. The murderers will be hanged. There will be no demonstration of queers on the streets. So a kind of normality returns. It will. We are now living in the barbarian states. The law doesn't work. The law doesn't work. The law is so so mixed up that nobody understands which laws now dominate in the European Union. Especially some way, because if the law is not precise, you can do anything you want. So it will return normality. It is tragic to say, but the Muslim system is better than European Union. So we are waiting for the barbarians to come. It is the title of the book of Coelho, I think. Yeah? And we are waiting for them. Because in this system cannot be overturned inside, because everyone has interest to keep the system. Because, as Alexis de Tocqueville said, the republic will survive until the rulers will discover that they can buy out the people by their own money. So they are taking money from the people, they are giving them, and of course, people don't see these small amounts taken from every day, and then they are giving them. Now in Poland, they are giving to every child 500 zlotys, or nothing, just. And they have good support among the people. There is much more stupid people than the wise ones, so you cannot overturn democracy such that. The majority wants this system. Majority is stupid. Of course, there are different tyrants, Stalin, Hitler, majority, and so on, but you can convince Stalin. You cannot convince majority. Because to become dictator like Stalin, you must have some talents. Majority don't have any talents. So it is much better, much easier to convince Stalin than to convince majority. So in fact, we have no chance. We must just wait for those barbarians to come and liberate us from the occupation of the European Union. Thank you very much.